Hi and welcome. So today I want to share with you more about emotional eating being a coping mechanism and how we can move into thriving because we are meant to thrive. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and emotional eating expert. And today I wanted to go a little bit deeper into how emotional eating is a coping mechanism. It's a coping pattern. And the things we tend to do to get out of our emotional eating also tend to be sort of coping mechanisms. And a coping mechanism is just something that is temporary relief. It's not actually getting to the root and helping us resolve something. And so in the short term, sometimes coping is necessary, but for our life, we want to be thriving. We want to have resolution. We want to be able to move forward. And so what I see with a lot of my clients, and I experience this myself, is that when we are moving through our emotional eating, or we are an emotional eater, or we use food to sort of soothe ourselves or numb ourselves from, the daily stressors of life, this is how we cope with life. We're never actually kind of getting into the issue and resolving it. We are sort of using something to distract us. And in our society is really set up to distract us from most things. We don't ever really get to a true resolution until things seem to be going out of control and really creating a lot of turmoil in our life. But hopefully, if you are watching this, you're not yet at that point and you want to really get a handle on your emotional eating. And so emotional eating is really when we're using food as that band-aid, as that coping mechanism, and we might not consciously be using it. It's that the way our brain works, and over time, and usually this pattern develops from such a young age, and it could be the result of trauma, and trauma is not necessarily the big traumas. It can be something we would consider smaller, having our emotions not being validated, not knowing how to express our emotions, not feeling safe to express them. And it also happens with bigger traumas. So they're on the same spectrum. And so we start using food to soothe ourselves, distract ourselves. And we can see this in our society with other things as well. If we go shopping or social media, whatever it is, that as soon as we feel that emotion, we jump into an activity sort of compulsively, because emotional eating is sort of an addictive behavior. It's a compulsion as well. And so, it tends to get out of control, and we're not meant to cope. Like I've said in the beginning, we're meant to thrive. But the way our society is created, we usually pile on more and more coping mechanisms. So we kind of switch them out or we overlap them. And especially for an emotional eater, we are told in society, oh, something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with your hunger. Something's wrong with the way you eat. And not getting to the root of the emotional eating, so we pile on the latest diet. So we try to control the way we're eating to try to control our body. And this is just us coping, trying to control the food on the outside, not looking at the deeper issue. And then we pile on, the exercise. You have to work out this way and this amount of time. And this is another coping mechanism to kind of make us feel like safe, because in our minds, if we sort of fit into that mold, if we're acceptable, then we'll sort of get those needs met that we're really longing to have met. And so we pile on that. The exercise programs and the diets tell us something's wrong with our body. And even if we go to a lot of conventional therapy, there is a stigma attached with any sort of issue. Let's say if you have an addictive behavior and you view it as something is wrong with you. I know when I went to therapy, I went to cognitive behavioral therapy, and I had a lot of awareness, but I felt something was wrong with me because I couldn't resolve it. I couldn't move forward. I didn't know how. And really the only thing given to me was behavioral change, but that wasn't getting to the root of it. And so we can see what we tend to go to. And of course, the pills and the surgeries and all of that we're using to try to help us, get out of our emotional eating or manage it. And managing it is just coping again. They are telling us something is wrong with us. They're literally saying something is wrong with the way we eat, our body, the way we think, the way we are. And so that really puts us at war with ourselves. And so this is not great. This just takes away our power more and more. And, as emotional eaters, whenever our moods and our emotions kind of tank, and sometimes even when they're positive, we go towards food to soothe. So we dig ourselves deeper into this hole, into this cycle. And we are meant to thrive. And so at some point on my journey, I just got really sick of all of the noise, the nutritional noise, the diet noise, the controlling, and I knew I needed to do something differently. I didn't know what that was. All I could see and sort of observe in the world was that there were people who had normal relationships to their body, to food, or what it appeared to look like to me. It just seemed they had an easier time. And so I wanted to figure out how they were doing this. So I just kept digging deeper and deeper, finding different ways to implement into my life, to move forward, to start feeling good. And the first place I started, and if I look back, it's all sort of happening at the same time, but really with throwing away everything about restriction around food. I started to really connect back to my body in terms of true nourishment, eventually into being really strategic about my digestion and learning about how my body absorbs nourishment, because we need to absorb nutrients to build a strong body so that, we're optimizing our digestion, our moods. We're going to feel better when we're nourishing ourselves. And as emotional eaters, when our moods are down or low, that can trigger emotional eating, and moods that are not going to be conducive to us feeling good. This also helped me connect in with my true hunger. I was very disconnected to my body. I had no idea when I was hungry. I felt I was always hungry. I just listened to whatever signal said hunger. If it was my stomach, my head, it didn't matter. And so I really started tuning into true hunger and discerning it from emotional hunger. And I started to actually eat enough so that I wasn't binging. And so there's a discernment there between emotional eating and binging. And, sometimes they get mixed in because we are, we're not just one facet. We have multiple facets to ourselves. So we have physical, body, mental, emotional. We need to look at all of these. And so then I started to really, connecting with my hunger, nourishing myself enough. I started really connecting to the rhythms of my body and noticing that sometimes, I needed different nourishment and my energy would be different. And, I couldn't always do the same activities. And so working with the rhythms of my body and really giving it what it needed. And I started noticing my moods and hunger changing with that as well. And so when I added in the next layer, so they're all kind of happening, and this was really targeting when I was sort of nourishing myself and listening to my body, but then my emotional eating would pop up in times of stress, small, big, all of the things. And so this is why we sort of get derailed, because we can stick to a diet and kind of willpower away for a year, and then, we can only sustain that for so long, because if we don't learn how to really move through that emotional eating pattern, we will keep going back to it to cope with our emotions. And so I really had to sit with the discomfort of that. And this is an ongoing process of life, of sitting with those emotions, processing and resolving them, and then creating a new way forward, because this was my old way of dealing with it. And so all of these things together created a situation where I felt I was thriving and I transformed. And I see this happen with my clients time and time again. There is a transformation as they work through my signature program, which is exactly what I went through. And, I can't even remember now. It's probably been, it probably took me over 10 years or so to sort of really implement this and to go through the trial and error of trying all these things to create this methodology. But I see my clients move through it in a few months, and the transformation is amazing because they start connecting back to themselves. And, you can sort of look by step, but as a human, you're going to go through a transformation and a change, and you're going to come out a different person on the other end. And that's what we want. We want to transform this old way of being into something that's more authentic to you, connecting you back to yourself on all levels. So, with your food, with your body, with your emotions, and you'll just feel more and more connected to yourself. And so you won't have to struggle about what to eat or what not to eat, or, how much exercise to do. You can sort of experiment externally, but you're always tuning back to yourself and learning more and more about yourself. And this is how it becomes easeful and effortless. But we need to move out of the old way of doing things. We need to learn a new way. So we need to move out of looking externally and start tuning into our own internal compass. And there are obviously guideposts for that. And they are within the Emotional Eating Evolution program, which is my signature program, where we really move through and connect you back to your body and, your food and your emotions, so that you are resolving this at a deep level so that it is sustainable. And this is how you move to thriving, because you're no longer giving your power away externally to something outside of you. And you can really look at the steps and the information and see how it works for your body, because we are all different. We are similar, but we are all going to be unique. And we really need to tune into our own body to really get to this resolution and feel good. And this is where that ease and confidence and freedom in your body and around food emerges. And it starts happening, I would say, almost right away when we start aligning you with all of these things that we've been misaligned from. So sometimes clients say, or women say, but I know all the nutrition and I know how to work out and I know this, but the thing is, you know it externally. You don't know it for yourself. You haven't really tuned into your body. And when you try something new, you can see the difference of whether something works for you or not. You're going to see it in your energy, in your moods, in your vitality, in your motivation. So my clients are internally motivated because everything they're doing is just making them feel better and better as they move through the process. So there is so much out there, and we really need a new way of looking at this. The old way is really fading away, and we need something new that's more authentic and aligned with ourselves. So if what I'm saying is resonating with you and you are ready and committed to move through your emotional eating, I would love to invite you to check out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution program. I'll leave a link below and some other resources. And if you are ready to move through your emotional eating, I would also love to invite you to book in an emotional eating assessment call. And this call is all about you, your goals, and giving you more clarity on what you need to really resolve your emotional eating. So I would love to talk to you if that's you. And if you have any questions for me for today, let me know. You can post them below, and please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. And I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.